This is one of the most sacred lakes in Sulawesi, Indonesia. Legend has it that a long time ago there was a village at the edge of this lake. The villagers, however, were very naughty. They often angered the gods with their shenanigans. And one day the gods got so pissed that they drowned the entire village. Now, no one knows exactly where this village was, but they do know that it's somewhere beneath the lake. And to this day, the lake is known as Lake Poso. Now, just hearing that part of the story, you might think that this is similar to the story of the sunken city of Atlantis, or perhaps you might think of the story of Noah's Ark. But actually, this story is a lot more common than you might think. In fact, there are many other lakes throughout Indonesia with nearly identical legends. Perhaps the most famous example is Lake Toba in North Sumatra. In the local folklore, the gods were appeased when a beautiful woman named Rara Jonggrang built a temple at the center of the lake. However, she had one condition. She told the gods that if they ever wanted to visit her again, they must bring offerings every Friday. The gods agreed and kept their word. Every Friday, they would fly down from the heavens, deliver their offerings, and then take back the old offerings from the previous week. This continued for 7 days, and at the end of the week, Rara Jonggrang took all of the offerings and divided them amongst the villagers. But one day, the gods grew impatient with these weekly trips. So the next time they flew down to the lake, they did not bring any offerings. When Rara Jongo asked why, they told her that they didn't have anything for her because they were tired of delivering offerings every single week. Enraged by this, Rara Jongo cursed the gods, and as a result, they were all turned into stone. And to this day, those stones sit at the bottom of Lake Poso. These kinds of stories are extremely common throughout Indonesia, and they usually involve a naughty village and some kind of punishment from the gods. But sometimes, just sometimes, the story has a much darker twist. For example, in some versions of the story, the gods aren't turned to stone, but instead they're devoured by a giant fish that lives in the lake. In other versions, the giant fish is replaced by a crocodile, and in other versions, the crocodile is replaced by a giant water snake. Yeah, you heard that right. A giant water snake. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure if I'd want to swim in a lake with a giant mythical monster, especially since the monster probably eats people. And even though the stories vary, one thing remains constant. The people of Sulawesi still believe that the lakes are guarded by ancestral spirits. And as a sign of respect, they often leave offerings of flowers and fruit at the lake. So what do you think? Would you swim in a lake that's guarded by the spirits of angry gods? Or maybe you'd rather just stick to swimming in the ocean where you can get murked by sharks. Either way, I hope you enjoyed today's video.